CB knows AI. As probably many of you have, you've delayed doing taxes. So I actually end up using Microsoft Access, and I have, pre-built kind of database stuff, and I end up doing like search queries against different key terms to make sure that I have those numbers available, and then I go ahead and plot those typically into like an Excel document with like dozens of different tabs and stuff like that. I have a use case for you. I had a great time this weekend actually doing my taxes using a custom built Google Gem. And I want to share that with you for various reasons. One, we all need more joy in our lives. Like that's pretty important. But two, to actually have a good time doing taxes and seeing, when you put these numbers in, making sure one, that you're doing it right, but two, giving it priority in terms of, okay, I don't want an audit. I want to make sure things are done right. This is the size of my company. This is how my life kind of looks. These are the number of employees I have. This is what I actually have on the credit card statements and all that stuff. So I want to make sure things are done right, but I also want to make sure that when I actually put the stuff in there, I know how things are calculated, right? Because I use H&R Block and end up going through the taxes. And again, what I do, just my typical process, is I download all of the credit card statements, the bank statements, personal, business. I download our profit and loss statement for our company because we use cash. Cash is the metric for that one. Also our mortgage documents and stuff like that. And I bring those all in. And then I run, like I said, typically using Microsoft Access, I'll go in and do queries against those tables and get those nice and neat so that, whether it's like business expense or T&E or advertising costs, I'll put those in a tab and I'll have all those numbers there in case I get an audit. Okay. So I want to suggest to you to make it one, more fun, two, more accurate, because these things are wickedly smart if you've trained them. Okay. So as you can see on my screen right here, I have built a custom Google Gem. This is private stuff. So when I upload actual documents to it, my credit card statements and things like that, it stays where it needs to be. Okay. We're not just using the general chat tool, and we've made sure things are off. Okay. So I want to share with you the actual prompt I use. So I use prompt to actually create the Google Gem to begin with, but then I also used it in the tax process itself. And I'll share with you how I was using it there as well. So really, guys, probably 15 to 17 plus hours, went down to like 2.5, and I had a good time doing it. And I feel it's a lot more accurate because I'll share with you some neat things that it was doing as I was talking to it and working through the filling out all the little blocks that it was requesting. So let me share that with you. So first of all, to build this, I am going to share with you the actual prompts I use. Now because I don't want to give you guys more information than I need to in terms of which specific credit cards I actually have. I did blank those out. All right. You probably can't see this that well. I'm going to blow it up a little bit there for you. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, on my screen, it's massive at this point, but at least you guys will be able to see it. Anyway, so the initial prompt, I didn't know exactly where to start, but I do know giving it context is really, really important. So my initial prompt in Google Gemini, and this was straight out of the gate. I hadn't created the gem yet. Okay. I am a small business and want to create a custom Google Gem to help me calculate my downloaded credit card, fresh book sales. I didn't want it to actually fill out any of the forms. I just wanted to get the data so that I could see it, because the worst part is getting all that data together. It was a kind of a pain in the butt from all these separate documents. Downloaded credit card information, fresh book sales, bank transactions for entry into H&R Block software. Please create what I need to create a custom Google Gem to maximize my return as a business owner filing federal taxes as a business owner of a professional services company, a marketing agency with 3 employees last year. Okay. Second prompt. So it did its thing. It kind of spit it out. And I was like, wait a second, I'm not giving it everything I need. So let me go do this. So 2 more things. Sorry. And by the way, whenever AI is involved, be friendly. say you're sorry, give it a good attaboy, nice work, that's beautiful, perfect, keep going, almost there. All those really things that we would normally use in our communication for a human being, but it's not. It's a bot, but who cares? Just be kind. It'll make you feel better too. Two more things. Sorry. I'll be uploading the business only credit card called Credit Card Business XLSA, which has all the business expenses, a Barclays business card that I use for business, but way less frequently, called Business Card 2 Personal PDF. Um, those are things that I often expense. My business, for when I'm actually using, because the credit card, the actual benefits are better on that specific card. My business bank account transactions called the bank. So this is my credit card for the bank, the checking account. My personal credit card bank credit. So credit card bank. I think I screwed that. I think I screwed the adjustment up there. Name personal. So I think that's my personal bank account because I'm filing as an LLC, whatever. So it's my personal. So that's a little screwed up there, but you get the idea. It's my personal bank statement, all the transactions and stuff. Personal checking account transactions, maybe not. Maybe that's the personal credit card. Okay, so that's personal credit card, and then the personal checking transactions called the bank personal. Um, well, I have a Capital One card, a personal Capital One card, and I'm naming it something. And then the last document I'll load up is the profit and loss for our business. Okay. My goal, in addition to maximizing my return filing jointly, personal taxes of my wife and two girls, is to avoid an audit because I don't want an audit, obviously. I want to make sure we're doing things above par. So I've given it that context. I then gave it all of the documents necessary so it could kind of, not here, actually, this was just the prompt, right, to create the actual Google Gem content so I can create that custom Google Gem. And here's what it came up with. It says, you are an agency tax and audit shield. Your mission is to organize. So this is the Google Gem. This is the Google Gemini creating the gem information I'm going to need for the name, the description, and stuff like that. Your mission is to organize financial data from 7 specific files to prepare H&R Block ready summary for a professional marketing agency owner filing a joint federal return. In Florida, we don't have filings themselves in terms of taxes like this. Primary business data, and it goes through and does basically resorts the stuff, personal search, scan the credit cards and all the information for hidden business expenses, software, ads, travel, professional dues, audit reconciliation, cross-check the profit and loss against bank and CC statements, flag any discrepancies where any expense is claimed but not matching transaction, no matching transaction exists. Specific calculations and logic. Home office. The office is 200 square feet, 10% of a 2,000 square foot home. Calculate the specified method of $5 per square foot versus the actual method, 10% utilities, mortgage. And I remember seeing this because I've done my own taxes before. I'm actually, again, doing manually, pulling all the records down and then querying against the stuff and then seeing what those totals are. So I have a much bigger understanding of what needs to be there. So this stuff is really making sense to me, right? Employee labor, breakdown in payroll from the bank, business, whatever. And again, that had actually it's just the name of the file. Into W-2 wages versus employer payroll taxes. Agency maximizer, ensure all SaaS, Adobe, ChatGPT, CRM, contract fees, 50% of business meals are captured. Audit defense protocols. Credit card 2 note, since this card is named personal but used 100% for business, flag any transaction that looks remotely personal, groceries, tax, protect the business only status. Commingling check, identify any business revenue that accidentally landed in personal accounts or business expenses paid with personal cards. Categorize these as reimbursable business expenses. Output requirements, provide a summary table mapped exactly to H&R Block Schedule C fields, including a red flag alert section if any category like meals or travel exceeds 10% of gross revenue. And then just to let you know, as I went through the taxes and I started to see some of those questions, I didn't upload a couple of things, right? So one of them is from what we use as FreshBooks anyway. we keep track of some write-offs and things like that, right? So I uploaded that. I also uploaded the mortgage document from my mortgage holder because it's got some stuff in there that was important. And then also we have some Fidelity accounts and things like that. So I wanted to make sure it had that as I went through the stuff, right? So all that to say is I was able to pelt it with really neat questions about how to fill it out. So as I'm going through, I basically said, this is where I'm at. This is what it's asking for. And it basically did the calculations for me. So even in terms of like travel, for example, like it, it knows when you traveled, right? Because it can see the airline and stuff like that. So it knew when I traveled. So I was able to actually see a lot more detail in regard to expenses, like that other credit card that I use. I would just normally use the corporate card for, but I use the personal card and then I write the stuff off, fill out basically the form that's required for reimbursement and stuff like that because I get better points for it. That's all. So it was able to do that. That was amazing stuff. And then there was another area where I for the vehicles, right? So I have a vehicle. We have two vehicles in our family. So I upload when it came to that area where we're talking about vehicles and writing stuff off, because it had all the transactions on the personal and the business side. Well, the personal is where I put that stuff. The gas, for whatever, I don't use the corporate card for that. But the truck that I have has kind of graphics on the side for the business, and it's used almost 100% for the business. So what was really cool is when it came to that area with our two vehicles, it actually knew, because it's been trained to look at it from this avenue, it knew that we had like a truck because of the amount that was spent on fuel at one time. It says you must have a truck probably for the business, which may be fully 100% off, 100% dedicated to that. But you also have another vehicle, like a car. Instead of a car, it's actually a van. My wife has, and I use it maybe like 10% of the time, just based on convenience or certain things for client meetings or whatever it is. But she drives it most of the time, right? But it knew based on how much we were spending on gas and even where we were spending it on gas. So it had a really good understanding and context immediately out of the gate. So I'm not ready to say we're AGI in thinking, but it picks up on patterns really, really well. Other times too, and I forget which field it was, but I was filling out some information, and then it brings you to like that primary screen in terms of like all these different like areas that there would be deductions and stuff like that. I'm like, well, I put the stuff in, but it still says zero. So I was able to do like a screenshot of it, upload it, and say, look, I put the stuff in this area, but it's showing this. And it said, oh, well, the reason why is because of X, Y, and Z. I'm like, holy cow, that's really cool. I never would get answers to this stuff with the software. H&R Block software sucks. The AI tool is horribly pointless. So this was a game changer. It made it fun. It made it interesting. It actually, not that I want to do it again. Like I could do better things at 2.5 hours over the course of a weekend on a Saturday. But I got to tell you, I actually had a really good time knowing what the work was. It was important. Knowing what it was saving me was like a moment. It really, really was Nirvana almost experience. Pretty cool stuff. The one thing I will tell you, and this is the other lesson, is context matters, you guys. So it doesn't know what it doesn't know. So even like some of the medical expenses that we've had. Now, some are easy, like eye clinic or eye doctor, right? Like it's in the name of the company and on those transactions. In other cases, it's not. So it has like names of something, but it doesn't know that it was for, let's say, MRI or something, right? So you have to tell it that, because you can say, well, where did you come up with that number? And it can print that stuff out. But what I did see is this, because I've done this before in previous years where I've actually, again, downloaded this stuff, filtered out, looked at the actual, sorted them to see which companies were there under certain areas. I was able to say, I went back to like the medical one, for example, and said, like it took all the transactions from the previous year, concatenate it, right? Get rid of all the duplicates, and you're able to say, okay, well, make sure that all of these actually show up when you're actually calculating the medical, right? And stuff like that. So just some really good tips. Context matters. Knowing how this stuff actually kind of fits together, so that when it does give you an answer, one, you can verify the answer, which by actually looking at it. But two, you want to make sure that you have a context so that if something is missing, for example, you know it. So uh, all those previous years of doing it, like I said, downloading the stuff and throwing it into Microsoft Access and doing the queries against the stuff, very helpful. But all that experience and logic and context really mattered, and it made it way, 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 way more fun, way more efficient. So, first time I can tell you I've ever done taxes and ended up with like big smile on my face. Like, this was amazing. So I hope those tips helps you guys. I know I ran on pretty long with that stuff, but I was just really jazzed. I hope it helps you. All right, have a great weekend, a great week, and we'll see you at the next video series. If I missed anything, or you think there's other things that you learned or experienced that are really, really good that you want to share, by all means do that. I love to hear from them. Until next time, group. Bye bye.